Hey everyone. All right, it's time to introduce some of the motorcycle projects. This is the Harley. It's not where I wanted to start a video. It's kind of mid-project. The way I want to start these going forward is, what's wrong? What am I turning a wrench on it? Show some diagnostics, whether it's making a noise or so. I took a barely a good video of the noise it was making. But let me give you some info on this and how it got here. So this is a 2000 Road King, one of the first fuel-injected Road Kings out there. The fuel injection system is original. It works awesome. It's Morelli, whatever. I'll put in the text there. It works great. I haven't had any issues with it. So I bought this from a friend about 5 years ago. It had 72,000 miles on it. It was in rough shape. It worked, it ran. It just really didn't want to hold an idle. The tires were just awful. The head shaked a little bit. It had a couple leaks, so it needed some love, but it was still all there and complete and running. Now, with that high of a mileage, it was just a situation where the friend wanted to, get out of it. He was moving. I got it for $3,500, so it was hard to say no. This is my second Harley. I actually started out with a 883 Sportster. I think it was a 97 883 Sportster when I started riding down in Florida. It was great. I love the bike. As you do, you sell, trade, buy, change bikes. So ever since then, I kind of always wanted another Harley. I've had Goldwings. I've had other issues, other bikes. So when this one came up, I said, sure, I'll take it. And slowly we've been fixing things, fuel filters, tires, head bearings, fork seals. I got air shocks replaced, redid the air lines, just kind of cleaned up the motor, but it's been really, really awesome and reliable. It's what I commute with in the winter when it's raining. I have the leg shields on it. I take it down to Taos, take it down to other states. It's a great bike, especially if you're gonna, put the wife on it. This is the only motorcycle that my wife actually rides on. It has great roomy floorboards. The seat's great. I have a backrest for it. It's the only bike she'll get on with me to go get coffee. She would not ride on any of those or any other sports bikes I've had. The only thing that we had similar was a Aspen Cade, a '93 Aspen Cade. Kind of love that thing, but she just loves a Harley. So I can't really sell it and flip it. She likes it as well. So it's here to stay. But it was recently making some kind of chunky noises. Now it has 83,000 miles. Haven't put too many miles on it, but again, it's been super reliable usually for commuting. But it started making a little bit of a sound of a bag of river rocks on the top end. I'll try to put the video up there and I'll see if you could hear it from that video. That was cause for concern. I said, well, I could keep on riding it until it pops. It has how much mileage, it definitely, I'm not into it too much. I think with the 5 years of owning it, I'm about $5,500 into the entire bike. But I have mechanical sympathy. I can't let that go. So I started breaking into the motor to see if there's anything obvious. I talked to some friends at the shops and they're like, yeah, that could be a lot. It could be the compensator on the other side. It could be valve train. It could be a couple of other issues. The valve train noise is very tickety, tickety, tickety. I've owned Hemis before. They do that all the time. So it wasn't too much, as you'd see in the video. It's kind of a ruggle, ruggle, ruggle sound. So it was kind of hard to diagnose. So honestly, without any clear direction, because that noise wasn't very specific, I started just breaking down into where we're at. So let me show you a little bit of the motor. Let me show you what I found in the motor. I was pleasantly surprised with, and hopefully we could, sort this out together. So it's a mess here on the lift, and again, we're starting the video mid-project, not where I want to be, but I was able to take the cam chest out. I was able to take the rocker box covers off. I really didn't want to pull the motor because pulling the motors on these things, pulling the motor on any motorcycle is a big deal. You got to pop the compensator out. Everything has to come out. Kind of tough. At that point, if I was going to pull the motor, I just want to put another used unit in. I know it works. Anyways, the valve train looked good. The cam chest looked good. I have it spread out on this table right now. So I did find some upgraded parts, thankfully. Again, I bought this bike with a lot of mileage, unknown history. There was no records. I I looked at a lot, some of the local dealerships here in Denver. None of them really had any record for this bike, but that's kind of a Harley thing. You either take it to your buddy who works on it really well, a shop, you stick to it, or you just DIY mechanic a lot of the upgrades. So it has an SNS cam plate. It has the Screaming Eagle 203 cams. So these are pretty common. These cams are mild. They're not, they're not a stage 3. They're not a stage 2. They're just kind of a mild bump, kind of for low end torque. So I'm happy to see that this bike had awesome drivability, very predictable. I loved riding it. It didn't haul, but it cruised really, really well. So this is the S&M cam plate. One of the reasons I'm glad this is there is because these have a issue with the cam chain tensioner where they will kind of wear out. So this already has been converted to the hydraulic cam chain tensioner right here. That just rides right there on the oil port, and it fills the cavity behind the tensioner. So that fills up with oil, tensions your chain, all is well. So I'm happy that was done. That was kind of the common issue on these bikes. Make sure you change that out. Someone also went ahead and upgraded the rocker arms as well. They're Jim's rocker arms. They look really good. I looked them up. They're not cheap. So someone at one point decided they're going to put some money in this bike. Now, I'm not finding any issues up to this point. The more I'm taking stuff apart, I looked at the cams, looking back at these cams as well. They don't have any scars. They don't have any bad wear marks. So I'm like, all right, cool. I looked at the push rods. I rolled them on a really flat surface. None of them were bent or kind of bowing. So that's okay. None of them, the heads weren't, kind of marred up, blocking that oil passage. There's an oil passage right there. Oil pump, that's the next thing I looked at. Is it an oil pump issue? Is it losing oil pressure? That's not filling the lifters. I took apart I think this all comes with a cam plate on a common package, the Screaming Eagle oil pump. Oil pump looks perfect. The rings look great. I have seen those collapse on dirt bikes and things like that. So this one's really nice. So I'm thinking, when it's not obvious, when you're not, finding the issue, saying, aha, that's what it was, it's really frustrating because then you're just going deeper and deeper into the motor. And then things get, a little pricey with gaskets and items like that, bolts that you may not want to reuse. So I'm saying, well, let me look at the lifters. The lifters are hydraulic. So they fill up with oil through these ports behind the cam plate. Let me turn that over. So the oil ports behind the cam plate, that is going to make sure oil passes through these channels. And on these twin cams, these ride in the block. I know the newer ones have like a plastic carry or whatever. These ride in the block, and there's an oil hole in there. So these fill up through the oil hole. I'll clean one up right now. They're soaking in oil because I'm going to retest them, and I'll show you where the oil, fills up the actual hydraulic lifter. These are the same in most pushrod motors, LSs, short blocks, whatever. And they become firm. And that way they push that cam profile up through the pushrod into the rocker arms. But if that lifter is not holding pressure, that's going to collapse on you, and that cam is going to slap the lifter instead of transferring the upper motion. So let me go clean one up. I'll show you, what they look like. I found two that were compressing, and that's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to hold that oil pressure. So I got this little cheap oil can off Amazon. I'm going to pump it with oil, and I'm going to test them. So if it is a bad lifter issue, I'll just go ahead and put new lifters. And honestly, between you and us, I'll probably just throw the lifters back in there once if they are okay. If not, just replace them. Most likely I'll replace them, and then just rock the motor until maybe it pops. I don't know. The bike's been great to me. I'm putting the camera on the tripod here. The bike's been great to me. If it needs another motor, that's something I could look into. We'll see what that is.